Chiefs Kingdom, I need your help. I am closing in on 8,000 subscribers on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm talking everything. Kansas City Chiefs offseason, from draft, free agency, trades, and more, and I need your help. And here's the deal. I will give you a little incentive to follow me on X, besides just getting the pleasure to follow me. The first 10 people from today's show that follow me at Tyler Jones Live, I am going to give you a follow back. So head over to X, give me a follow at Tyler Jones Live, and we'll get started with today's show. I have some good news and I have some bad news to get to here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Let's start with the bad news. This comes from the Washington Post, a new report that the Chiefs are expecting offensive guard Trey Smith to depart in NFL free agency. Here is more Sam Robinson of Pro Football Rumors laying this out as follows. As the Chiefs will need a better answer at left tackle in 2025, they are bracing for their top in-house free agent to leave. Kansas City is expected to lose Trey Smith, once the market opens, according to the Washington Post's Jason Canfora. Despite the Chiefs showing interest in retaining Smith at the season's outset, his situation has trended this way for a bit. Now, I'll be honest here. This isn't surprising news at all that Trey Smith is likely to leave Kansas City in free agency, but it still is disappointing news that this is going this direction. And it seems to be that this will only make things worse on an offensive line that already had a number of issues in 2024, specifically the left tackle position. And it makes you think, if Trey Smith is gone, how bad will this offensive line potentially be next year if they don't have the money to pay him? What can they do to make the most out of this situation? Here's what you need to know, folks. The Chiefs head into the offseason, according to overthecap.com, with a cap space of about $11.5 million, but that money can evaporate pretty quickly when you factor in that the average draft class costs about $10 million in cap space. Trey Smith is expected by whatever team he plays for in 2025 to make over $22 million a year, making him the highest paid offensive guard in football. So if they were to keep him, it would come at a very high price tag. Now, there is an opportunity to free up some more money potentially, as Patrick Mahomes could restructure his contract and free up about $39 million in cap space. And then there's the possibility of the franchise tag as well that could be used for Trey Smith. But history tells us that it's very rare for an offensive guard to get the franchise tag. And the reason why is because the franchise tag coupling pairs up the offensive guard spot, the tackle position, and the center position as one collective group. Obviously, the tackles get paid more than anybody. So do you really want to give Trey Smith offensive tackle money? Probably not. Trey Smith coming off the best season of his career in 2024, as he was a Pro Bowler for the first time ever, a two-time Super Bowl champion, and one of the best success stories of the Brett Veach era here in Kansas City as a former sixth-round pick turned Pro Bowl selection, and a huge part of this Chiefs offensive line, as that interior has been rock solid the last couple of seasons with Smith and Creed Humphrey and Joe Thuney. And his numbers were fantastic this year as well, with close to an offensive grade of 79, a pass block grade near 71, and a run block grade near 81, with over 1,100 snaps. And he's been extremely reliable as well, has hardly missed any time with the Chiefs in his short career so far, as he just now is starting to enter his prime years. In a moment, we'll turn the bad news into good news. I have some good news to get to for the Kansas City Chiefs in regards to the offensive line situation. We'll explain what that is coming up in just a moment. Let's ask you, our pinned comment today, do you expect Trey Smith to leave in NFL free agency? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. way in the comment section. Let us know what you think. The Kansas City Chiefs Report is your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. We are your off-season headquarters as we're doing live shows every Tuesday, multiple videos throughout the day at times. We're talking draft, free agency, trade rumors, and more. Everything you need to know in regards to your Kansas City Chiefs, we got you covered each and every day here on the channel. Best part about it, you can subscribe now for free and stay up to date with the latest happenings on your favorite team. Turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. Let's get at least 50 subs off today's video. We'll keep you updated like no one else will. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Now, let's get to the good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. In the same report, according to the Washington Post, the Chiefs are looking to stabilize the left tackle position in NFL free agency. That their focus is on bringing a veteran to fill the role at the left tackle spot that was a revolving door in 2024, starting with Kingsley. That didn't work out so well. Then Wanya Morris didn't play much better. And then they went to D.J. Humphries, and he got hurt pretty fast. And then they moved Joe Tooney over to the left tackle spot, and that worked out relatively well until we got to the Super Bowl when Big Mike got exposed against the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line there. Sam Robinson with this saying, one anonymous GM adds via Canfora, the team will likely show interest in Ronnie Stanley and Cam Robinson. Stanley, of course, of the Baltimore Ravens, and Cam Robinson, who recently joined the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I'll say this. You know me. I love me some Trey Smith. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And when it comes to the priority of getting this offensive line right for Kansas City, fixing the left tackle position is the higher priority than the offensive guard spot with Trey Smith. It is, when you think about it, just putting it in the simplest of terms here, the left tackle position is obviously your most important position on the offensive line. So, although it's going to suck losing Trey Smith at the right guard spot, you have potential to make this better by fixing that left tackle situation first and then figure out what you're going to do at the right guard spot. Let's start with Ronnie Stanley, our two candidates that were mentioned in this article from Jason Lockenfora. Ronnie Stanley, former first-round pick out of Notre Dame, a first-team All-Pro in 2019, had his fair share of injuries and had a nice bounce-back season here in 2024. And the expectation has been that this past year would be his last with the Baltimore Ravens based on the way his contract was stacking up. And at least he went out on a high note there with Baltimore. Plenty of experience, 104 career games played with 104 starts. In his grades, solid this season at the left tackle spot. A nice bounce-back season for him. Nearly 1,100 snaps, an offensive grade of 71, a pass block grade near 80, and a run block grade of around 63.4. And for a player of his quality, the market value, according to Spotrac, isn't terrible, relatively speaking. 2 years, about $41.34 million is what is expected to be what he's worth, which would be a jump up from what he's making as of right now. Meanwhile, Cam Robinson of the Minnesota Vikings, let's tell you more about him. A former second-round pick out of Alabama by the Jags, joined the Vikings this season. He's got a decent amount of experience as well. 101 career games played with 101 starts. And his numbers, not too bad this past season, as he played in nearly 1,000 snaps with an offensive grade near 65, a pass block grade around 70, and a run block grade close to 60 this past year. And he's expected to be cheaper than Ronnie Stanley is. About 3 years, $42 million is what he should be getting on the open market, according to Spotrac. Bottom line is this, folks. In life, you can't go cheap on buying toilet paper. You don't want your ass to hurt, right? You also can't go cheap on paying the left tackle position. It is, without question, the most important position on the offensive line. And you have the greatest asset of any team in the National Football League at the quarterback position in Patrick Mahomes. And the last thing that we want is Patrick Mahomes running for his life and getting hurt. And you need to do what you can to make sure you have this left tackle position shored up. And Brett Veach, it's been kind of a mess for him when it comes to the left tackle spot over the years. Really, since Eric Fisher left town, they tried Orlando Brown, and there was some contract issues there. And then, of course, they've tried some different things this year. We went through all of that. It's really been a mess, and they need to figure this out sooner than later. Personally, when it comes to these two options that are being presented here, when it comes to Ronnie Stanley or Cam Robinson, I like both guys, and I think both of them would be a significant upgrade over what Kansas City has currently. But if you're going to let me choose between one or the other, I would lean towards Ronnie Stanley over Cam Robinson because of the better track record that he has. He's more of a sure thing and has had a higher ceiling of success than Cam Robinson has. But either one, I would gladly take under these circumstances here in Kansas City right now. If you had to pick one to sign, would you rather go with Ronnie Stanley or would you rather roll with Cam Robinson? Type RS for Ronnie Stanley, type CR for Cam Robinson. Let us know in the comments section. One final note before we go. Speaking of the left tackle position, a new report from the Athletics' Nate Taylor, their Chiefs beat writer. He has been told that offensive tackle D.J. Humphries would like to return to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025 with the chance to earn the starting job at the left tackle position. And DJ, I got to tell you, thanks, but no thanks. The Kansas City Chiefs can do a lot better than DJ Humphries. And you think about it, just the circumstances have changed here when it comes to DJ Humphries. All right? When the Chiefs initially brought in DJ Humphries, it was a very desperate time for the Kansas City Chiefs at that position. Now, you head into this offseason, and you go into free agency, and plenty of guys out there and such. You don't have to settle for DJ Humphries. And I think that's the thing for KC. Much respect to DJ Humphries. I appreciate that he would like to be here, but you can do better than DJ Humphries at that position at this point in time, comparably speaking to where you were at in the middle of the season when they signed him. I got to tell you, I was glad when they signed him. It was a small sample size, but it simply didn't work. And I know that he had a Pro Bowl appearance in 2021 and all of that, and his resume is not too bad. But I think what we saw was the Chiefs lost confidence. They couldn't believe in him. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, after looking at his numbers, granted, again, small sample size coming back from injury, you can't sit here and risk this left tackle position of not getting it right. And if you have the money, if you're willing to spend on a veteran quality left tackle, why would you take the chance? And that's how I see this with DJ Humphries. There's just too much of a risk involved. Now, you could potentially bring him back as a backup and allow him the chance to compete to be your swing backup tackle and potentially step in if there's an injury. It's not going to cost you a lot, about 1 year, $1.3 million potentially. But I can't put all my chips on the table with the idea of him being my full-time starting left tackle in 2024. I think that's just a bridge that's too far for Kansas City. I would be very surprised if that's the plan, if they re-sign him and Andy Reid says going into training camp, DJ Humphries, you know that guy we signed off the street when we were very, very desperate? Yeah, we're going to roll with him at the starting left tackle spot. You're not at the same situation that you were in the middle of the season where you were looking to literally take anybody at that position. Now you have options. It's like what the great Shrek once said. Onions, they're like ogres. They have layers. And there are layers to this process of guys that you could potentially bring in, like Ronnie Stanley, like Cam Robinson, that you'd be better off with. Should the Chiefs re-sign DJ Humphries? What do you guys think? Two options here. Type S for sign, P for pass. Way in the comments section and let us know. For more Chiefs offseason coverage, give me a follow on X at Tyler Jones Live. Help me reach 8,000 followers there, and I will see you next time right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report.